Hi, this is Tori.
And this is Dori. Hi, everyone.
This is the Expats Podcast from two former expats and hopefully future.
Welcome, everyone.
Yes.
This is the first time, so bear
Yup.
with us. It's gonna be funny and cool, and
Messy.
nobody knows how it's gonna end up, but whatever.
Yeah, so since it's our first, we'll just do a quick episode of introductions. You can go first. Introduce yourself.
Hey, I'm Dori from Hungary. If you don't know where is Hungary, that's totally fine. Nobody does. It's not that important. We are in the middle of nowhere of Eastern Europe. We speak a language called Hungarian, which is on the list of one of the hardest language in the world.
Oh,
And as
nice.
soon as you leave the borders of Hungary, nobody can understand you. So
Great.
it's amazing. Yeah. You have to be bilingual to even being a tourist or
And
just get out of here.
and don't you also have your own currency?
Yeah, we have the forint, which is literally like weak. It is weak. I can't even protect it. I can't even defend it. Like going to London and I saw how much stuff cost there and how much do they cost in here, and I started calculating the difference and I was like,
Uh-huh.
never mind. I should
Yeah.
not do that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
My exchange rate is horrible too, so if I'm changing dollars to pounds, it's like, okay, you get nothing.
But it's not that horrible.
It's like a little bit worse than when I was living there
Okay.
currently. So, but I guess if I make money in London and change it to dollars, I'll be rich, basically.
Obviously, I guess, but living in the UK is more expensive in one way or another than living in the States.
Yeah. Well, I could live poor in England and make a bunch of money and then buy a big old house in the middle of Southern America in the South
The South,
in Florida.
yeah.
But anyway, so what
Florida.
country?
Florida. You wanna move to Florida?
We'll see.
I turn on the news and it comes out as like Florida man did this, Florida man did that.
Oh yeah.
Alligator ate Florida man, and I'm like, I'm still surprised people live there. Like,
Well, California has its own oddities.
oh, I know that. I know that
And it was in
too. But
flames.
oh yeah, all the time in flames. Not even surprised anymore.
So, speaking of in flames, like Arizona, what other places have you lived?
Well, I just can't find myself to settle in one place apparently. I lived in Scotland. For about a summer, I lived in the middle of nowhere. Literally,
Mm.
I talk about it with people who are Scottish, and they don't even exactly know where the city is where I was living in. And I'm like, well, that does a lot. Like it was called Roverdenan. It has 2 hotels,
Okay.
a walking trail, kind of like El Camino, a couple of mountains, the Lake Lochlomond. There was no public transportation, no Wi-Fi, barely any service. And to go to the closest grocery store, you had to take a boat that
Interesting.
ran twice a day. So
Huh.
you caught it or you didn't. Or you walked 7 miles a couple
Wow.
of times. It's pretty good exercise. It takes about 2 hours. But it's
Hmm.
great. And then I lived in London for almost 3 years. Oh
Mm-hmm.
dear. Yeah. And I lived in Arizona for a year and a half, and I'm looking for my next adventure as soon as borders start to open up.
Yeah. So I
And
guess
just literally like rootless, basically. Nowadays, I'm just like, I just gonna go wherever.
that's a fun way to live, though.
It is, but it can be a little lonely as well when you move
Oh,
into
yeah.
a new place and you don't know anyone there, so you are starting over.
Yeah.
And I'm like getting really good at starting over after living in many places, but it's not a direct quote. But I don't know if you ever read the book or watched the movie of Paper Towns.
I don't think so.
It has like one of the characters says in it that um, in the beginning it's the hardest thing to leave, and then it is the easiest goddamn thing to leave. So it's kind of like me. Like it was not easy for me to leave for the first time, but
Mm-hmm.
now it seems like I just can't stop leaving and starting over again and again and again.
Yeah.
It's weird, but I'm
Yeah.
weird too, so whatever.
At least
Let's shift it.
you have the courage to leave, which a lot of people just talk about it.
Well, it started out with not really having a choice with it, I think,
Yeah.
or at least not really seeing another choice to do it. So I left for Scotland because I had to get a job so I can financially support my year and a half voluntary
Oh,
mission in the US.
yeah.
So
Got it.
it was just well, you have to do this to be able to do something you have been wanting to do for a long while. So I did it, and now I'm
Well, that's
just like,
cool. You made it
hey,
work. Make it
especially because
happen.
I did not speak English when I moved there.
Oh,
And then if you know how Scottish people speak, sorry about
yes.
everyone who is listening and Scottish, but for the first 2 weeks I had no idea what anybody was talking.
Yeah, that would be
And it was not
a hard
and
one.
it was not because of the English language, it was because of the accent. I had no idea what was going on. I was like, no clue.
Oh, that'd be a hard one to assimilate.
Yeah. And I did that as a starter. I don't know what I was thinking.
Well, it worked out.
Yeah, and by the time I came back, I kind of gained the Scottish accent. So the
Mm.
people who knew me here, they were like, "Okay, you're talking," and I'm like, "Whoops."
So I guess I can introduce myself.
Go for it.
Okay, I'm Tori from California, and I'm a musician, specifically a composer. So I did my undergrad in California, and I decided to leave California, but instead of just going to a different state, I said goodbye, America. And I moved to Bristol, England, and I did my master's there. And then while I was there, I kept visiting London and I fell in love with the city. So I made it happen to live there. So I was in London. I think all of this was about 2.5 years. And in March, I had to go back to California. So that's my story.
Did you live anywhere else but California and London? Any
Uh,
other state or country?
no, actually, not. I had that like week in Spain in when I
Yeah,
got kicked out of England. That was fun.
fun. Yeah, that was really fun. We were worrying sick if you are actually like still alive.
Yeah. But the reason why like I kind of saw that as living there and not a vacation was because I was living at my friend's house and it was like it wasn't really touristy. It was just living the Spanish lifestyle and it was fun. But yeah, COVID was stressful. It started to get stressful at that point.
Tell me about it.
But that's everywhere I lived.
So
Short
you
list,
literally
but
didn't leave the country until that point. Just like, Mom, Dad,
um,
I'm packing up my bags. I'm moving to England.
yes.
Bye.
Before that, I did visit once, and I also visited Canada for a choir trip. So I did have stamps in my passport, but it was my first big move. I said, and it was, yeah, England.
Wow.
Good choice, because I got into a university in Bristol.
Nice. Well, I guess in Europe it's easier to, I don't say it's easier to travel. It's not easy at all, but like I can say how many countries I've been in, like not living in, but like visited. And
Yeah,
that's like a pretty long list.
yeah,
But you guys have the states, like you can visit all 50 of them.
yeah. Not everyone does.
I
Um,
know.
I've been to a few. But yeah, it's a whole adventure just to get to New York across the country. An
Yeah.
expensive flight, 5 hours in the plane.
Well, that 5 hours doesn't really compare to the how many hours? 16 hours London, California.
Oh,
Somewhere
I think
around
it's
that.
9 to 10.
9, 10.
So not
Really?
horrible. Yeah, it's about 10
Well,
hours.
why did it take me forever to get home from Arizona?
Did you stop somewhere annoying, like Toronto? Not that Toronto's annoying, but the flight is super long from Europe to Toronto, and then it's super long to get
No, I
to.
went from Arizona to New York and New York, London,
Mm,
London, Hungary. It was long.
I
It
don't
was
know.
still long.
That's a journey, yeah.
And I can't sleep on planes. I learned
Oh,
that the hard way. I'm like,
shoot.
okay, I don't even know what century are we writing? What day is it? What month is it? What decade is it?
I force myself to sleep, even though I may not even be fully asleep, but 'cause I get kind of sick on there, so I have to close my eyes. And then the first time I went to Europe, I was really, really determined not to have jet lag, so I set my clock to the time in Norway and Sweden where I was going, and I forced myself to sleep at the right time and then get up at the right time.
Wow, that's commitment.
Yes, it was. I don't know if I would do that now, but
I mean that's still the better way to not get jet lag. When I went to the States, I arrived to Utah because that's where I had a stop. Arrived to Utah at like 2 a.m.
mm,
and I had to wake up at 6 a.m. because I had places to be the next
yeah.
day. So I had like 4 hours of sleep in me after traveling for like 20
Yeah.
hours, and like I missed one of my flights, so that's why it took forever to get
Oh,
there. Not sleeping the whole time, and I was like, I'm not gonna have jet lag, but I cannot be sure that sometimes along the day I'm not gonna just collapse or hit the table and
I
with my
know.
head. I'm like, can't promise anything.
I know. When I first moved to England, for some reason the jet lag was horrible and I was feeling dizzy for a week.
Oh, I totally misheard you.
Oh, when I
I
when I first
no, I heard
what
I felt Disney for a week, and I was like, you felt.
dizzy.
I get it now, but I heard Disney for a week, and I was
Oh, Disney. That was my
like like
therapy.
like
Just kidding.
Mickey Mouse and like Donald Duck and like how did you feel? Like what?
Yeah, I skipped school or skipped uni and I just went to Disneyland Paris
Oh
to
yeah,
sort out my jet lag.
that's nice.
Yeah, the roller coasters.
That wakes you up. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah. I don't I've never been there.
Neither have I.
I have the
But
real one here, so well, that's rude. Sorry, no offense, Disneyland Paris. The
and no
original
offense
one.
that I live literally like 10,000 miles from the real deal. Thanks so much for reminding me.
Well, it's barely been open. I haven't been there in a while.
Fun fact, I have never ridden a roller coaster in my life.
Oh, it's pretty
So
fun. You'll have to mark that on your list. It's fun.
yeah, one day, but I don't wanna be one person who like gets off and like throws up everywhere.
Well, at Disneyland, you can work your way up. There's like the kid ones, which are still fun, and then the level it gets higher and higher. So you can just see how you are in the first one.
Tori, can you imagine me on the kid one? I'm like
I go on the
in my
kid one.
in my late 20s and I'm almost 6 foot tall. Like, can you imagine me just
It's still
riding it?
fun. It's not even it's quote unquote kid. It's at Toontown. It's a fun roller coaster. Everyone does it.
Okay.
Yes.
It would still look funny, I guess.
No, you'd be
Like,
surprised. Everyone goes on it. I
all
don't
the
know.
cute kids around me just like, oh my goodness. And I'm just like there, like a giraffe just looking around.
No, it's fun. People who have gone to Disneyland will know. Toontown roller coaster.
Toontown.
Toontown. So how did we meet?
How did we meet?
How
Oh,
did we
well,
meet? We met in London
yeah, we did.
because we can go into more detail about what we did in another episode, but we were au pairs in the
Yes, we
same
were taking care of other people's kids.
area, and we would see each other every morning at the school run.
Yeah, a drop off. And
And
then later on, we started working together as mealtime
oh
supervisors
yeah,
and playground supervisors. And
we
yeah,
we should talk more
that was
about that.
interesting times.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about our time on the playground when we get Pixie on our podcast.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we'll leave that
Or
for later.
even Hannah, she
Oh
worked there
yes.
too.
So everyone will be in suspense to hear about our lunch hours on the playground.
Yeah, how does it feel to be a full-time au pair, full-time looking after kids, then when you have free time, you go to a school to look after kids? How
Yeah.
does that feel? And why did
Uh,
you decide to do that? Like,
I know. It actually made me crazy. Just have I was fine. I love my family and everything, but having that hour right in between my free time, it was not good for me. Even though I loved all
yeah,
those kids.
yeah, I mean, I did too, but yeah, it was interesting to have like, I have free time, but I have a second job. Like,
Yeah.
and I see my own kids on the playground, and I'm like, well, that's interesting.
But yeah, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So, I have a few questions we could answer. What's your favorite place in London?
Oh, that's hard to answer.
Yeah.
I have so many of them. Oh my goodness.
We could do a top 3.
Well, definitely like the city center is one of my favorite, like London Eye and like the Houses of Parliament, Tower Bridge, and like that areas.
Yeah.
And I love that because I just walked along the Thames for so long. Like,
Yeah.
I spent way too much time just like walking along the Thames. Like when
Yeah.
you literally just like start walking from the Parliament till like down to Canada Water, that's like, I don't know, that's like 7 or 8 kilometers. And then you decide that like, oh, I'm just gonna walk back.
Yes.
And then, or like, you are broke. Like,
Yeah, I'll
all
save a
the
few pounds.
Yeah, yeah, right. And then by the end of it, you actually feel it in your legs. And like, I
Yeah.
maybe should have not done that, but you still did it. Yeah.
I've never had this in my life where when I go to bed, I fall asleep right away. Only time in London.
Yes, when you literally exhausted and you are just like, and because the weather is weird, like almost
Oh
all the
yeah.
time. So it's like your body is trying to adjust, but it can't. And you are just like, yeah, nah, nah. I need my sleep. I need,
Yeah, I slept good. Those were my best sleeping days.
you're right.
What's your other favorite spots?
I love St. James's Park. I love that place.
Oh,
If it
Saint.
was on,
Wait.
if I wanted to disappear from people, like somebody just made me mad, I just went
Uh-huh.
there.
Oh.
And I was just going there and feeding the squirrels who climb up your legs and
Oh.
for food. And like I was just hanging out with the squirrels, like nobody's
Mhm.
business. I was just like Snow White, just like hanging out
Yeah.
with the animals. And people looked at me weird, but I was like,
Oh,
I don't
whatever.
care. I'm
That's
sick of
fun.
people, so I'm hanging out with animals.
Yeah.
And I love Hammersmith. I love West London. I like
Mhm.
the Thames areas in West London. I mean, yeah, it is bougie, but there are a couple of spots where you have the best view of the sunset and the sunrise,
Hmm.
and it's amazing. I loved
Wow.
it. I have so many great pictures of it
Oh.
for no reason. Just like went there, took pictures, went home, kind of
Yeah.
deal.
Oh, that's
I
nice.
miss it. What about you? What are your favorite spots?
I have so many too, and I also loved walking around the city. I would often walk with podcasts, and I just really liked doing that. But I love Covent Garden a lot. It's so beautiful there, and I would just go hang out there by myself or meet up with someone. And all the parks are beautiful. It goes without saying. I really, really love Regent Street. I wouldn't even go shopping. I just loved walking there, and especially during Christmas.
But it's so crowded.
I don't know. I just love it. I can't
No,
explain
I'm
it.
like there is like so many people there. I worked on Oxford Street and sometimes I was like, too many people.
But that's Oxford Street. I like Regent Street.
I know, but Regent Street is literally
The
like
same thing.
coming from Oxford Street.
Yeah. And I also really like Mayfair.
Okay.
I love the Ritz and Green Park. And I love Camden, which I did not like Camden at first. And I know we spoke about that,
Yeah.
but then I realized, like, when I needed to go shopping, they just had everything.
Yeah,
And
right?
so I got used to it. Like, they have big grocery stores, bookstore, the outdoor market where I would get, like, some natural beauty products. Then so much
Yeah.
good vegan food because I'm vegan. And so I love Camden. And then I also really love Hampstead because it's just so cute
Okay.
there.
True. I
I
mean,
think
Camden is not the safest spot at
no,
night.
go in the
Um,
daytime.
well,
Yeah.
during the day it's not that bad, but I have some stories out of the nighttime and I'm like, I could have died.
Oh, yeah.
Like
Oh my
every
gosh.
story ends up with I could have died.
I believe it. I believe it. But I would go during my breaks, like run my
Okay.
errands. But yeah, Hampstead and Belsize Park, which is like they're nearby. I love those two
Yeah, yeah.
areas.
Nice.
So I could probably name like 30 more places I love, but those are my
Oh,
most
me too.
frequent.
Like after like 2.5, 3 years, like just walking down the streets, like having a lot of memories coming back and like, oh yeah, I hung out with my friends there. I went shopping
Yeah.
there. I had a date with that guy on that street. Or like,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, wow. It's like a scrapbook.
Yeah. I really miss walking there or just being there.
Yeah. It has its charm for sure.
And I miss my food there. That's another big thing.
Oh, yes.
My snacks.
Yeah, I miss it. It
Mhm.
was good. It was good.
So, what's another country that you loved traveling to?
Well, yeah, I loved being in the States because I didn't
Mm.
feel too weird there. Let's just say that. I don't know. I just have had the feeling in the States that people were really accepting.
Uh-huh.
Like they weren't really like, oh, you're weird. But they kind of embraced like, oh, you're interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
You're weird. I like it. Um, I like that. And like people were really outgoing and friendly,
Yeah.
which I don't know how many people know Hungarians, but we are not as friendly and warm and welcoming than we love to say. Let's just say that. Like it's weird, but all the friends of mine who come here as tourists and they're like, Hungarians are so warm-hearted, welcoming people, and I was like, really? Are we though? Because I've been living here for a long while, and let's just say that's not the first thing I would say about us. But another thing that's like in Europe, I really liked being in Vienna.
Oh,
It had really nice places and areas, and I don't know, I really, really liked that. It was really charming.
that's definitely on my list. I haven't gone yet because there's a lot of like classical music significance there. So I must go. I think there's a lot of Mozart things.
Yes, 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 yes.
Hmm.
But another other place, there was a school trip I went with my high school, the one and only school trip I went with my high school abroad. It was France and Italy. Like we
Hmm.
went to like a road trip of 10 days on a
Cool.
bus, which is not the most comfortable thing
I've
to
been
do.
there.
But like going to Cannes and like the seaside and
Oh,
going to
yes.
Verona, and I do not speak the language there, so I can't tell you if people were how welcoming were the people, because
Hmm.
they might have been really lovely in English, but might have said something behind our back and that I had no idea. I don't know, happened before, but it was memorable and it was a long while ago.
Hmm.
I'm a movie lover anyways, so for me to go to Cannes where the film festival is
Oh,
and see
yeah.
the red carpet and those kind of things, I was like, one day it's gonna be me,
Oh,
which
yeah.
probably not, but and like seeing Verona, the Romeo and Juliet,
Ah.
or like the place where Letters for Juliet were
Oh,
filmed, and I was like, I love this
I
place.
know. My mom and I just rewatched that. I love that movie. Special.
It's weird how I watch a lot of movies, which gonna come out in this podcast probably a lot of times, that I don't have a social life, but I watch movies and I have movie life. Um,
Yeah.
but like going even in London or in Vienna, in France or Italy, to like, oh, I know that place from this movie or
I
that
love
movie.
doing that. New
I
York
know,
is a
like
good one. You have to go to New York.
I'm planning on it. But
Yeah.
yeah, the memorable things come a lot of times out of that to me.
Yeah.
That like
I understand. My sister and I do the same thing.
I'm planning on going to New York, but for a long while I was really afraid that it would be too crowded for me.
Oh, no.
Then I moved to London and I was like,
Yeah.
never mind.
It's only crowded around, well, like, it might be crowded, but it's mainly crowded around Times Square,
Okay.
the tourist parts. But do you know the Shopaholic books or movie?
Yes.
Well, my sister and I love the books. There's about 10 of them or so, and she hasn't been
Wow.
to England yet. And so I'm making up the Shopaholic walking tour when we're in London. to like go to all the
Nice.
places they mentioned in the book. So we're really excited for that.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure Oxford Street is on the list, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Has to be.
Has to
Shopaholic.
be. Not Oxford Street, then what are you doing with your life?
True. So we're
Regent
excited for
Street and
that.
Oxford Street, like that's the place where your
Yeah.
wallet just disappears. Like, pff, where did my money go?
To
I
Primark.
don't know. Haven't seen that. I don't know.
It's true. My
But
favorite.
I wouldn't
Sorry.
know because I was always broke, so I barely ever shopped on Oxford Street or Regent Street.
I let myself once in a while, not just, it would usually be for Christmas presents or if I had a specific thing I needed to get. But then it was fun when I was allowed.
I'm a Primarker, you know.
Yes.
Like that's where my wallet is sized to.
I have strong beliefs in Primark and it's magic. You can find anything
Yeah.
there.
Yes. Especially the Oxford Street one or like the Leicester Square one that's like 4 level. I'm like, wow. If you don't find what you are looking for in here, that does not exist then.
One of the biggest Primarks is actually in Bristol,
I
and
heard.
I pretty much went into it every day. Like, I just like to walk through it once. So it was a very nice ritual. I
Wow.
lived right next to it.
Oh, that would be toxic for me. Like you no.
Yeah. Yeah, dangerous area.
Too close. Too close.
The country I love traveling to is Spain. It just has that magic for me. There was like fun vegan paella, and it's another place I love walking around. I went to Barcelona and then some areas in the south.
Nice.
And now I'm learning Spanish, so I'm excited to return. So
What do you think about the Spanish people and the culture and like the lifestyle while you were living there?
the Spanish people, I love them. It was mostly like my friend and her family who I'm thinking of, and they're all like so kind and welcoming. The people, like, I'm not super social when I travel, but I went into a bar once and convinced one of the waiters to cook for me because it was like past the time the kitchen was closing. So I think they're pretty nice. The lifestyle I love, like eating at 10 p.m. was kind of weird for me, but the food was so good, so it was all
Yeah, right.
positive. Yeah, and the family I was with made like all this homemade food, and that was
Oh,
so good. Still think about it. And then it's just a
and
beautiful country.
the afternoon siestas.
I did, because I was like with the kids, and then I took that Spanish vacation, and then craziness happened, and I was just like, I needed that rest. So that Spanish routine was beautiful for me. Eating lots of food that was delicious, and then taking a nap. I needed those naps.
I
Yeah.
believe that. I believe it. Yeah,
So I had a fun time there.
I'm glad. Yeah, craziness happened and then you got a little bit of a vacation, which
Yeah.
you well deserved to have a little vacation after all that stuff.
Yeah, it was good. It was weird timing, but it was good timing.
Yeah.
So
Wow,
should
I need a vacation.
I know.
So, what is something you miss about London right now that you are not there?
Well, for me, I have these moments of I think of a place in London randomly, and then I just feel in my heart I miss that place, like walking around there or the food or whatever it was about it. So that's just being there for me and being walking around everywhere and getting around so easily. That's what I miss, and also I miss my outfits. I think I'm prettier in London with my coat and stuff.
Wow. Okay.
I
That
miss my coat and my scarf.
that was unexpected. Okay. I really did not expect that one. I missed the the cold weather clothes.
I know cold is annoying, but I love my coat and I just feel
Okay,
like I look better.
I
Maybe
totally
that's the
get that,
main thing. Yeah.
by the
Oh,
way.
and I super miss my favorite foods. So like I have favorite restaurants, but there's also like Deliciously Ella and Livia's snacks, and they had healthy-ish vegan like truffles or granola bars. And then I
Oh,
miss this is really specific thing. Sainsbury brand hummus with the black olives and lentil
ooh,
chips. That
that's good.
combination.
Oh, that's good. Oh, that's
Yes.
good.
There's no hummus that I've had that's like the Sainsbury one. It's very
Hmm.
disappointing.
You live in the US, in California, where veganism and vegetarian people are like everywhere.
Yes.
Asbury Thomas. How is that even possible?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's just that specific flavor that I like.
Oh, okay.
I can't describe. So what's your
Interesting.
list? What do you miss?
Well, first of all, the stuff that you mentioned, the first, like, just popping up memories, like, that's the best and the worst at the same time. Because it's like,
Yeah.
oh, but at the same time, oh. So,
Yeah.
but I have it all the time.
Yeah.
My phone has a funny thing it does with my Google Photos that reminds me that a year ago you did this, or you
Mm.
took this picture, or 2 years ago you took this picture,
Yeah.
which we all know that about a year ago it was pandemic. So I was taking pictures just to entertain myself, to distract myself that we are gonna
Hmm.
die. At that point, at least that's what everybody told us.
Yes.
And 2 years ago, when life was still happy and uh, not easy, broke person in London, so it wasn't easy, but it was kind of happy. And yeah, I do that as well, to like remembering places and like missing places.
Hmm.
It happens pretty often. I miss my friends, of
Yeah.
course, my colleagues, and like those. I miss people from there, but by now most of them moved away from London. So
Mm.
if I ever go back, it's not gonna be the same. I had so many things popping up in my brain at the same time. It's
Hmm.
just weird. I miss the culture, if that makes sense. I
Yeah.
miss that I walk down the street and there are 2 or 3 theaters left and right,
Oh, yes.
or flyers of like concerts and like street musicians and street performers, and under the bridge there is like an antique book store kind of stuff, a
Yeah.
book market, and like I miss that. I miss the thrill of looking around in a crowded street for looking for famous people
Yes.
who might live in London.
We can make a whole episode dedicated to that.
Yeah, or just going to
Celebrity sightings.
yeah, or just going to a performance that there is a famous actor in it,
Oh,
and like
yeah.
seeing that, like, I saw that person on stage.
Yeah.
I really miss that.
We'll have to do a
So
whole
yeah,
episode on theater and celebrities and
I really
performances.
haven't seen a whole lot of celebrities, but I saw many celebrities on stage.
Well, that's cool though. It's still on the list.
Also, my best friend had lunch with Benedict Cumberbatch, so
Oh my
I can
gosh.
just brag with that a little bit. Like, yeah, I know someone who knows someone.
That's pretty cool. I'm a bit
But yeah,
jealous.
I was too.
Crazy.
But yeah, I miss London. I miss London life of
Yeah.
its colorfulness
Yes.
and kind of unpredictableness, if that's even a word.
It might be.
Might be. If it's not, I just created it.
Okay.
I mean, come on. Like, maybe it's just a Hungarian thing, but I don't know if you ever heard about West End Live, the concert or the festival.
No.
On Trafalgar Square every summer in June for 2 days for a weekend, like Saturday, Sunday. It's a free concert on Trafalgar Square. Like the whole Trafalgar Square is full of people. And I don't say every, but most of the theaters, musicals, perform 1 or 2 songs from their shows to kind of like show what you can see.
Yeah.
And for 2 days, and it's free.
Wow.
I mean, you have to stand in line to get in for a while or wake up really early, which I did both. It's amazing and it's free.
That's cool.
It's great.
Yeah.
It doesn't do anything like this for free ever.
Yeah, that's correct. I know. That's really cool. So, how do we end this? We need a whatever it's called. Thanks for listening.
Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for listening. Please subscribe, and we'll post every week.
Yeah.
Sorry.
If you are enjoying this whole randomness, you can tune in next week for more.
Yeah. And don't even worry, because we're going to have some guests, so you won't have to listen to just us all the time.
I mean, we are fun too. Yeah.
True, never mind. Forget I said that. Sorry, we're having guests, so you can't listen to us only.
Sorry about that. You are stuck with us.
No, it's the other way around. You have to listen to guests. You're taking away from the pleasure of listening to just us.
Oh, wow.
It's a burden.
Oh, wow. So sad.
Thanks.
Thanks for coming. Bye.
Bye.